Hi folks, this is just a really brief overview of my entry to the Nintendo Labo Builders Contest, the European one. It's based on a book, it's one of my 18-month-old daughter's favourite book, called What the Ladybird Heard by Junior Donaldson and illustrated by Lydia Monks. And that's kind of the inspiration for the game, so and obviously the illustrations as well. So I'll show you the title down here. So in the actual book, the story basically is that two thieves are coming and they've got a plan to steal the cow, the fine prize cow as it says in the book, from the cowshed. So they arrive at the farm and they've got this plan, which is they're going to navigate their way around by the noises the animals make. The Ladybird has a plan to stop them, and she explains it to the animals, and when they do that, effectively in the book, the thieves arrive and end up getting misdirected into the pond where they get arrested. So the game is effectively based on that, but in my version, the Ladybird is explaining the plan, but the animals, as you can see here, keep getting confused. So that's the basis of the game. I mean, most of the time it took on this two major parts, and I'll take you through them as we go through. One is the programming, which I'll do in some detail, and the other is the artwork. So it obviously began as a bit of a concept, and I'll put up some concept images and show you a little bit about how this developed. So quite a lot of the time was taken thinking about how it was actually going to work and how I was going to use the screen, and make sure that you could make it into a playable game within the limitations of what the Switch has. Take you through some of the features. So in terms of programming, one of the tricky things was actually programming in the random timers, so that the question marks came up at different points. So that was quite a challenge. The other thing is I've tried to build in a levelling system, which you can see here with the green bar up the middle there. The lives were fairly simple to do, and the actual scoring for each of the levels was fairly simple, but I've also built in a feature so that it gets faster and faster as you go up each level, which again took a little bit of thinking around. Okay, so there's two bits to get the game going. First, to reset. It's actually all reset at the moment, but I'll just show you anyway. So you press these three buttons at the bottom, and the resets happen there. And then to start, you press the left button, and the game starts going. So it begins reasonably slowly, and this is really just to give you a chance to get used to it, because it speeds up quite quickly afterwards. And as you can see, the question marks pop up, and you have to press the corresponding button. If you get it right, you get a point here, and as these points add up, it'll eventually level you up as well. Oh, missed the right one. So again, you can actually start it a little bit faster if you want. You press the right button on the Joy-Cons, it'll start it at a higher level. I haven't managed to successfully complete it beyond starting on level 3 yet, because it does speed up exponentially due to the way that the coding works, which you'll see a little bit later. But here we go. So as we get to the top, you should find that... all suspense now as we wait for the next one. Anyway, as you get to the top of this point scale here, you'll find that the level ticks over and the thieves start moving along their track towards the cowshed. Okay, so that's a really basic intro to how the game plays. This is just to give you a little bit of a sense of the creation of the actual game itself, the game board itself. The colours behind here are fairly straightforward. These are just photographic gels, the kinds of things you put over flash guns in order to create coloured light. So those work quite nicely. The buttons were probably the most complex thing to make, and those actually required quite a lot of prototyping, so I'll show you some short clips of the prototyping of those. But effectively what they have is a sticker on the inside, so when you press the button down, reflective sticker moves inside the box, which is then picked up by the IR camera, which you can see on the back of the box. So if I just show you that in action, and we'll talk about this in a little bit as well. So there's the IR camera going into the box there, and this is actually part of the winning mechanism on the back, so that uses the Joy-Con's vibrate function. You'll see that a little bit later on. But if we now look inside the box, you can see then the mechanism here. So there's the IR camera over here. Here are the buttons. There are the IR stickers. So you can see that as you press the button, they move. little elastic band as part of the mechanism down the centre, which returns them to position. And we've got these little wires that just prevent them from going out of line with each other, so they go down and up in a straight line, pretty much. The 2 stickers were literally because I decided these were less reliable actually than these ones in the end. So it's just a bit of experimentation. You can also see some prototyping that was going on inside that box there as well. So that's the buttons. Beyond which, as I said, it's just the mechanism on the back which pops up a police car, and which I'll show you shortly. So if we go and zoom right out a second, it's quite a mess, as you can see. Tidiness is not my forte. The main thing it's all based around is this over here, which is essentially a start button. It's a very simple counter. It's an analog counter, which when you press the start button, which is the right key in this case, makes this go to 1. And as soon as that goes to 1, it outputs to a selection of other counters. So there are effectively 4 blocks of counters here. If you can see this, there's a block there, there's a block here, there's a block further down, and a block right at the bottom. So there's 4 blocks. So that original number feeds directly to 2 counters, both of which are set to prime numbers. So this one's 7 and this one is 11. And as the analog is introduced, so that's on there, you can see they start counting up, and as soon as they hit their prime, they reset themselves. And you'll see that the number next to it starts counting up. So that's basically a delay function. So these just count up to an arbitrary number, which is 9 in this case. So every time the prime finishes, it adds 1 to this. And effectively what that does is it means that these 2 numbers are out of sync with each other. So when this number reaches 9, so this will count to 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. That one eventually gets to 9. When that gets to 9, it will light up a light, and you'll see a little light switch come on here. And that's basically the thing that lights up the question mark. And that's your opportunity then to press the button. So the idea of using prime numbers was to give this kind of random feel to it. So the prime numbers sync up. So it's a kind of cycle of about 20 different variations, 22 different variations. And these are basically just resets down at the bottom. As soon as that light's on, we basically go into our button press mode. So, sorry, it won't zoom along. So the deal over here, so this first one says, okay, if the light's on and it's been on for a set amount of time, and that set amount of time is also linked to that universal counter down here, then if the button has been pressed and it's on, then it's great, and you should turn the light back off, add a point to the score, etc. But if it hasn't been pressed by the end of the time cycle that it should be on for, then dock a life. That's effectively what happens. So there's the score here, so that's score. And you see if we play this now, we go into play mode, and there's the second button. So look, you can see a score point coming in here. This might take a little while. Let's just speed it up a second. So there's another one. You can see the score point. If we miss this one, so we're missing this one down here, we get the error noise. And you can see the error lives lighting up here, and we're straight to a game over because I sped it up quite fast, quite quickly. And here is the thieves running along, and there's the trigger for the final end game moment, and we can reset. It's got a universal reset. There's my 3 score bars. Here are the 3 lights. You can see underneath the 4 lights for the different question marks. And if we go right down here, you can see the 4 IR markers and their linked things. So that really is it. So the biggest challenge with this, really, when I was making it, was how can I make it so that it seems to be random in the way the question marks appear, and how can I build in a leveling system so that it gets faster and faster as you go through. So effectively what happens, when you get to 10 on this score bar, it adds an extra 1 to your leveling system, and then when your leveling system goes up 1, it increases the number here, and basically what that makes it do, if you watch the numbers here, when we're on 1 down here, these count up at a certain speed, but if I put that up to about 5, you see they go up faster. So effectively what will happen is, far too fast. So as that increases, it speeds these up, and that creates the illusion of a levelling system. So we're on the last level now, so you can see the thieves are nearly there, and the speed gets quite fast towards the end. And there's the end. And then hopefully we also get a little police car come up as well. And that's supposed to be the police siren at the end. And that's it.